Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome to episode 86 of Shrigleytube TV. Got a good episode for you tonight. Hope you enjoy it. There's lots going on. It's my birthday on Monday, so I had a bit of a play with the offset engine. Managed to get it together. Got a tune out of it on the dyno, and then we tested it on Friday at Oulton Park, and it was a good day. I really enjoyed pedaling the imp round, enjoying myself. Not going particularly quickly, but I was enjoying myself. Anyway. Funny that it should be episode 86 tonight because that's my race number, so coincided nicely with an Oulton Park treat. So hope you enjoy what you see. As always, thank you for all the kind comments. Really enjoy reading them, and it's all good. I've got an idea where I want to go with the viewing and with the program. You know what to put on there now. So thanks again to everyone that came up to me at Race Retro. We had a great time at Race Retro, by the way. It was really good to see all the people that came over and took the time to speak to me and tell me what their thoughts were on the YouTube videos, etc. So it was all good. It was a great weekend, all in all, and it actually paid financially as well. So only just, but we call it networking. It wasn't really a working weekend. It was a networking weekend, but we shifted some treasure as well. So it was all good. Brilliant. Right, I look forward to seeing you next Sunday at 7. Bye for now. Right, YouTubers, so I'll give you a quick update on the offset engine. It's my birthday, so I'm just cruising, but I've put my cutouts in the piston and quite happy with that. I've got to do a lot of more work on the pistons yet. Got to top them to the correct height and also dry build it and make sure we've got the correct valve clearance. I was quite pleased with myself because while I was doing that, I skimmed a flywheel for a customer, so that was good. So, not been a bad day. I think I'm going to tools down soon, pick the kids up from after school club and go radio control car racing, which I'm due to do you a video on very shortly. We've got a new sport that me and the boys have been doing, so I'll do a video all about it in due course. Okay, YouTubers, it's Tuesday morning. Mr. Wilkie's popped in for a brew. It's been a disaster, Wilkie, this morning. I did my pistons on my birthday yesterday, did my little cutout, so I've still got to do a piston to valve at top dead centre clearance check. But this engine is the offset one, and I thought the crank didn't go around just nice, you know, and I thought we better just check on it, make sure it's okay. So I've got my sizing bar. So this is a bar with the 3 journals turned to the tunnel size of the mains. So you torque the mains caps up and have a feel of it. And it's like 2 hours down the line now, but I've got it going round. We've done lots of scraping and lots of manoeuvring. So hopefully this will all go around beautifully. Now, I should mention this isn't actually a determiner of the clearance between the main bearing and the journal. What this is to do with the pinch on the shells. So you've got your 2 shells and when you tighten the mains cap down, they butt up against each other. But that pinch is critical, otherwise they start floating. So this doesn't actually change the clearance of the actual running clearance, shall we say. It just changes the pinch on the bearing. So I'm quite happy with that now. We'll have a little witness mark inside the caps, make sure they're all contacting all the way around and not scraped it too much in the wrong place like last time. And then hopefully we'll get a build on, because I'm desperate to run this, or at least get it ready to run by the end of play today. Okay, I'm pretty happy with my contact points. We seem to be touching 90% of the way around. So this is the offset block, just in case those of you that haven't been here before or joined us recently. And as a trial on this engine, you see that little hole next to the main there. I've opened all the galleries right up and I've put little oil squirters in. Can you see them? So these little holes come out there. You can zoom in there. And the idea is that's going to lubricate the back of the piston and the piston skirt on the thrust side, hopefully taking some heat away with it and giving us some more horsepower and ideally stabilising the temperature of the piston. Good morning, YouTubers. It's the big day. It's Wednesday morning. It's going to run. The sprinkler system is going to run on the dyno. I'm really confident. I might even run it with no water in it, just so I can just for 2 minutes, just to get a bit of a tune out of it. I'm a bit nervous, I will be honest. Now, I didn't do a video last night, which was Tuesday night, because I worked right to the bell to get the sump on. because I needed the glue to set overnight. So I've come in this morning, I finished dressing in, put a silencer on, some carbs and stuff and bits and pieces. So it's all ready to go on the dyno, and we're going to see how it performs. Now obviously if you just join the channel, then you might not realise this is the offset engine, so the liners are in on an angle, which is all to do with the rod angle, the dynamics of the engine. So we're going to see how all that works. And also I've put my oil squirters in this engine, which is a new thing. So one thing I did change, I always go on about using a standard size oil pump, because obviously it's ample size for an imp engine, but because this has got the 4 oil squirter jets, what I've done is I've put a high capacity, so it's a longer pump, it's a higher volume, because obviously they're a constant displacement pump. And I just wanted to make sure that we could get to the relief valve, which you've been through before. The relief valve's in this body here, and it blows off at 55 psi. So it's really important that we get it to the stage where it actually blows off, because we're going to have so much oil going everywhere with all them 4 2mm holes squirting oil up at the back of the cylinder, and obviously the clearances and the bearings, etc. I was just worried. I thought if it ends up in the dyno with a standard pump and it can't make 30 psi, I won't want to run it. And then obviously all this work is to help us get to Friday, which is the test at Oulton Park. So if it runs today and it's good as gold, which I hope it is, we'll be screwing it in the car tomorrow and then going to Oulton Park, and we'll get some in-car footage. Anyway, fingers crossed. I'll get this on the dyno and I'll report back shortly. Okay, YouTubers, we are up and running with the offset engine. You can probably just about see there the oil pressure is horrendously low. I'll zoom in there. It's on about 15 psi at sort of 1200 rpm, which that's not actually that bad, I suppose. It's not oil-like material, but it's a sign that even though we've got that big high capacity oil pumping, there's that much oil coming out of the new gallery feed to the pistons that, you know, it's losing the volume. As soon as I rev it, gets to about, that's 2,500. Get a load up. So by the time we get to 3.5, it's doing 50 psi, so that's acceptable. I'm happy with that, as long as it's making its blow off in the relief valve housing, making that 50 psi at decent RPM. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. Now everything's really good so far. It's not a sprinkler system, which is handy. Got a little oil leak which I've got to sort out. It's just not enough grey glue issue on the where the head meets the timing cover at the front, not helped by the fact it's only got 1 bolt holding it down because of a previous incident. But yeah, it seems to be quite good. I've not run it under any major load, I'm just trying to be nice to it. I thought we could give it a little bit of a squeeze. It's got no advance in it, loads of fuel, just being dead kind. I'm not going to do anything until earliest this afternoon after my customer's bin, and then we'll try and get a decent tune out of it and get it off the dyno ready for the test on Friday, assuming it finishes on the dyno in one piece. So I'll take the load off. At the moment it's sort of all noise and no go, a bit like a 1.3 Ford Capri, big long bonnet, nothing underneath it. It sounds awesome, like when you're stood next to it in the dyno, it sounds really angry, but it's not doing any power at all. Well, it's not happy there, is it? So it's 7, it's really happy at high RPM, you know. Doesn't feel like it's grafting at all. It's not breathing either. It's really good on the cylinder seal. Well, won't take throttle at 5, will it? Let's hope it's awake at 9,000. Not that we're not gonna go there just yet. Absolutely no power. Right, well, we'll go and pull a bit of fuel out of it and squeeze a bit of advancing, but I don't really want to go past 7 at the moment, so to carry on playing with it, enjoy the fact it's not broken, and then we'll creep up on it later and hopefully we'll see some decent numbers out of it. Okay, we've done a bit more running, squeezed a bit of advancing, a bit more friendly now. It's still not where it needs to be, but it's still pretty fresh. I feel a bit bad doing this to it. Sorted that flat spot out, 5,000, it's pretty knackered there. Yeah. Okay, a bit of an update, YouTubers. I've run the engine and all the water and oil staying in the right place, which is good. It doesn't breathe. It's got oil pressure when it's at RPM. However, the one crucial thing it's missing is some torque and some power, which is quite upsetting for me because I had big ideas. And generally, when I'm running them in, I can tell whether they've got anything anywhere, and this one doesn't appear to have anything anywhere of anything worth talking about. So yeah, I'm just going to make a big change to see how, because I'm learning all the time here. It's really weird, but top dead center on the piston is not the crankshaft top dead center, if that makes sense. So the crankshaft is actually past top dead center because the liner is not in line with the crankshaft. So what I thought we'd do was make a big change. Let's make a big change. So I'm going to retard the cam timing. I'm going to make the cam timing even at top dead center and just see what effect that has. Because one thing I noticed was, apart from the fact it had no torque, it didn't really want to hang on. You know, it wasn't keen to go higher. I had loads of advance in it, or plenty. What I had imagined was plenty of advance for the engine spec, but again, how is it affected by the new offset? Does it need more advance to counteract the fact that it's actually gone past TDC on the crankshaft at TDC in the piston position? You know, yeah, it's all a bit of a learning curve. I think we need more time really, but I'm going to try and get it to a point where I've got a half decent result out of it, because I'm desperate to put some time on the crankshaft and see how we get on. If we can go around Oulton Park for a good 25-30 laps, I'll feel more confident about pushing forward with the motorcycle piston and rod project, because we know this works in the 1120 setup, which was normal parallel liner. It's just this is the offset liner job, which is throwing a bit of a mix in. So I'll carry on and I'll join you shortly on the dyno running. Okay, YouTubers, we're on and running properly now with the 1040 offset liner engine. I spent most of the evening trying to break it. Been to about 9. Seems quite happy up there, but as you probably can tell from the deflation in my voice, it isn't doing what I wanted it to do just yet. I don't know. There's so much to learn because so many things have changed that my little brain can't compute what's going on quick enough to work out why it's doing what it's doing. Basically, the compression ratio and the chamber shape and all the rest of it that it's got should mean it would want what I'd have thought would have been maximum sort of 28 degrees advance. And I've got it on 40 degrees of advance, and it's still not showing any signs of breathing or pinking or anything. So, excuse me, I'm just a bit of a quandary really. Got loads of fuel. I've leaned it off, I've richened it up. It's quite, the fuel settings are pretty normal for the size choke that I'm running, etc. But I just don't seem to be able to make head and tail of what's going on with the power. I know that top dead center isn't necessarily top dead center now with the crankshaft position, obviously because the liner and the piston is offset to one side at top dead center. One thing that is noticeable is, for a new engine, it does not breathe at all. It's really good cylinder sealing, and I mean, we're talking second-hand £100 set of motorbike pistons off eBay. We've not done anything fancy here. So I do wonder if the angle on the rod is helping, you know, the piston to be more stable, considering also how much extra oil we've got squirted up the side of the cylinder because of the oil squirter jets that I put in. Anyway, as you can see, it's got virtually no oil pressure on idle, even with the enormous pump in it. but as soon as we put any RPM on it, it comes up. So we'll do a bit of a run together. I'm seeing roughly about, I've seen 84, 85 foot-pound at high RPM as well, at like 8,000. So it's 120 horse on my dyno, which means it's a good 110. But it's not a very good air day. But I think maybe I had my hopes set a bit high. I was hoping this was going to be the breakthrough that I'm always dreaming of, where we suddenly see another 5 foot-pound everywhere and it's just a stonking engine. It's by no means my best 1040, you know. There's several engines out there that would eat this for breakfast. So I'm going to do some more work on it after this run, and maybe we'll dyno it again a bit later. Obviously it's my late night tonight. I don't want to upset any of the neighbours in the local neighbourhood. So it's 4.5. We'll load it up there. 5,000. It's holding a remarkable 74 foot-pound. It sounds great. It sounds like it's about to eat the track alive, but it's just not doing the numbers. Anyway, we'll give it a rest. We'll go back. So at 6 there, it's holding 84. That's 7,000. 8, 85, 9. See, it's still holding 72 foot-pound at 9, which I bet is good horsepower, you know. Let me just do a little calculation. 72 foot-pound multiplied by 9, 123, divided by 5252. It's 123 horse, but it's not really, is it? It's 120, so. Not sure what I'm going to do here. I think I'm just going to sit down, have a cup of tea, and think about the job for half an hour, and then do some more changes. Right, okay, YouTubers, it's getting a bit late now, so I'm a little bit concerned about the amount of noise I'm making, but tried several different things, not really got a definitive answer as to what's going on yet. It's moderately better. I'll just show you. I think we'll have to have a little bit of an explanation chat in the morning before I take it off the dyno and put it in the imp. I've only got tomorrow to get it fitted because we're out on Friday testing, as I keep talking about. So go to try and load him at 5. It's 60.5 there, steady at 6. One of the best we've seen out of it so far. So that was roughly about 85, 86 foot-pound, but still nowhere near where I want it to be, for it to be like an improvement engine. So I'm going to have a little play, and we'll revisit this in the morning, see if we can get some extra horsepower out of it when we're not upsetting the neighbours. Good morning, YouTubers. It's Thursday morning. I've only got till about 3:30 today to get this lump bolted in the Hillman and unload the van, and try and get the Hillman in the back of the van, because it's the quickest way I can think of getting it to Oulton Park tomorrow. So we're a bit short on time, so I'm panicking a little bit. It's not often I panic. I've made an exhaust system, just trying some different lengths on it. I've been chopping it down and just generally messing about, trying to find the sweet spot. I think I've found a moderate improvement. I'm sort of seeing a consistent sort of 85, 86 foot-pound of torque. Still not breaking the rules or anything. I had a bit of a chat with Bob on the phone last night, which I'll talk about later. We've got a bit of a theory as to what's going on, but we'll run it now quickly, and then it's just going to have to come off the dyno, because the most important part of the next test is to make sure that the crankshaft stays in one piece. So we'll put some time on the track tomorrow, hopefully. Right, I'll wind it up. Roughly about 4,000 there. It's clean, but it's not doing anything exciting, which is good because it means it'll do it later, or in theory, but it doesn't. maybe it's a bit better than I think, maybe it isn't. I tell you what, I won't say any more. I'm just going to take it off, put it in the car. Let's see how we get on. Right, we're going to do a final sweep together. I think I've finished messing about with it. Literally, you can't believe it's got nearly 50 degrees of advance in this, which is just against all the rules. But we'll try and have a little chat about that next. I'm just going to wind it up and see what happens. We'll start him at about 5. Still hangs on really well, this. It does hang on well. It's got no power, but it hangs on well. Right, we'll leave it at that. Let's get it off. Right, okay chaps, final run. Been messing again. It's got a lot of advance. So it's either going to start breathing and pick up and kill itself, or it'll survive, one of the two. I'll try and start it a bit low, like 4.5, 5. So 4,000 there, it's absolutely fast asleep. 63 foot-pound. 4.5, it's starting to wake up. Right. So, I think we'll summarise it by saying it's still running, so let's get a learn on the piston jets and the small pin crankshaft and put it in the car, and let's try and get to Oulton Park and see how we go. Okay YouTubers, it's 2 o'clock. The Hillman is back together. You've probably just seen the time lapse of it's all worked out. So this is the offset bore engine in here now. I've just done all the throttle linkage. We put the full length exhaust on like we ran it on the dyno, increasing it 4.5 inches at a time, as my mate Mr. Parry tells me. It will go in and out of tune. So we were just trying to find that sweet spot, but I think I found it. Anyway, I still can't get over the amount of ignition advance this thing is running. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it survived the dyno, so it'll survive the test in theory. I fitted all my oil cooler setup. I had to drill and tap the block and all sorts. So there's swarf all over it, and I've not even got a breather. I've got to do a breather because the other engine was slightly different in the way it works. But what we'll do is we're gonna go for a little quick test drive, because this is the LT, you know, the one I've been raving about. Love this thing. And I need to get it in the back for tomorrow, but we've got all of Race Retro in there, so I've got to get underneath now and unbolt this disabled chair lift, and then we can put the ramps on the back and hopefully drive him in, and I'll have to crawl out the back window or something, but that's the plan anyway. However, I have to pick the kids up for swimming this afternoon, so because the missus is at work, so I'll have to come back this evening and do it, but it's all good fun. We'll get it done. At least the engine's in and running. I'll give you a quick fire up. Somehow, by putting motorbike internals in it, it sounds like a motorbike now. update, YouTubers. Been out in the Hillman for a test drive. It was all good. Really felt actually quite torquey. I was quite impressed with it. I couldn't go mad obviously because on the road, so I just had to trickle it around, made sure we got gears and brakes. And just unloading all the treasure from Race Retro, but obviously I've had to unbolt the chairlift. So if anyone wants a disabled wheelchair lift for the back of a van, I've got one there, you can have it cheap. Just stopped for a break because my back is burning, but got most of the boxes out now and into the unit. Another half hour and then we'll get the ramps out, drill some pegs, put the ramps in here. Then we'll drive the car up and crawl out the back window. Because if you look, this isn't like a normal LT because it's been a minibus. They have no wheel arches, so I'm hoping that the impulse squeeze just, I have measured it, it's close, it's like 1 centimetre each side, but it should just squeeze between them. Anyway, we'll see how we go. The van is empty, the ramps are in place, they're out of the race box. I reckon she's gonna go straight in. My grumpy mate's here helping me, he's so happy, he just thinks it's a daft idea. I think it's gonna be lush. Straight in, no messing, that can be his new home then. He can live in there, but he'd be happy in there, nice and warm. Put a cover over him. Good morning, YouTubers. It's Friday morning. Didn't get a chance to do a video last night because it was so late we finished, but the Hillman fits in the race bus. An absolute glove, and we've even got 2 seats still in the back. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing the way it went in. So we'll get unloaded, do our safety briefing, and then I'll join you on track with some in-car footage. YouTubers, bit of a disaster. Not a crankshaft disaster. The car's fine, but we've had a big crash at Cascades on the sighting laps, and they've decided to postpone it until the fog clears. So we're just gonna have to go and get some breakfast and wait for the fog to clear. just couldn't make it up, could you? It managed to spring an oil leak from a casting. I haven't got to the bottom of it yet, but it was time to go home anyway, so it didn't really matter, but just had to happen to me.
YouTubers, Hillman's back in the back of his little new house that he's got. It's all intact, thankfully, although it has got an oil leak. I'll just put a video on now and show you. But the oil filter housing appears to have cracked just as my mate Stuart was about to get his turn. Now remember Stuart had the Rover, and he really enjoyed me taking him round last time, didn't you, Stuart?
Very much so, Andrew.
Mate, I've got to say, you're looking very smart there. Are you double Shrigleyed up there?
Yeah, basically I couldn't find anything.
Oh mate, you've got a t-shirt.
I couldn't find anything better to wear this morning. I was in a rush.
I gotta say, you look great, mate. Well, I'm really sorry that you didn't get to drive the car again. You queued up in the thing to go out, but then we've had an incident where someone's crashed and they've spilt oil over the track, so they're spending a bit of time cleaning it up. So I think we've got into dinner break, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I'm going racing this afternoon with the boys and picking them up from school and taking them to radio control car racing. So I've got a jet, but can we have a quick look at your car?
Certainly, yeah.
Because what happened was, last time we came here, if you remember, Stuart very kindly let me use his 2 litre, was it a road car turbo one?
It was a Rover Sport.
Rover Sport, that was it.
220 turbo Tomcat, converted back to road spec.
Right.
So it was a race car that became a road car.
I knew it was something special because
Yeah.
it was fast, wasn't it? But this beast here, this is the actual race car, and it says Grandad in the back window, which I thought was highly amusing. But he's just had the engine rebuilt. Stuart won. Let's have a quick look. Can you knock it off, Stu, so it affects with the audio, because it can be quite hard to hear what we're saying. Now Stuart won outright. Was it 2 double header? Oulton Park
Last year, yeah.
Yeah. Not bad, not bad. Not bad. Have I given you some driving tips around here?
What do you want me to say?
Maybe you should give me some. No, wait. Look at it.
Look at the inside there, look.
Oh, look at the double door bars. That's all right. I like to see a bit of safety. Yeah, it looks like a proper car, this, Stu. No. So tell us a bit about the engine. It's had a refresh after how many seasons? What we're looking at here? Stewie. Mate, you love the job, don't you?
Oh no, we've done the Grandad.
Done Grandad.
Side. Have you done the other side?
What's on the other side?
Similar.
It's mi Grandadio.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Don't know, the kids did it.
Oh, the kids did it.
Yeah, the grandkids did it.
Oh, man. That's brilliant, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. They love it. The kids come, don't they, grandkids? Yeah, come to the race meetings.
You've seen them.
Mate, so this is not a K-Series engine, is it? Because if it was, the head gasket would have gone far earlier than it did.
Correct.
Sorry, mate, I shouldn't. Stuart, by the way, he's got an MGB. He's got imps and that, but he is truly an Austin Rover man, aren't you?
I'd say an imp man, basically.
Well, you drive a modern-day Jaguar.
I do. Two of them, actually.
Oh, 2 of them. And you've got an MGB, which I've forgiven you for it. You know, it's not your fault. You know, you obviously, it's a pretty car. I'm not going to knock that. I'm only joking. Right. Tell us about.
Remind them that I've got an imp that's going to. The engine's coming to you at some point.
Yeah. We're going to sort that.
To be featured on that Shrigleytube.
Yeah, because Stuart
fettled up.
Lives right near my new unit, and he was just saying that he was sick of playing golf and going to parties, and he could do with a part-time job. So you know, you might see more of him in the workshop. No.
We'll see.
Right. So what's happened? How many seasons did this do, and how many championships before you had to touch it?
It did about. I've got to try and work out the years now. 16 years of racing and something like. Certainly over 80 races.
Wow.
And at Silverstone last year, at the end of the season, all comers, it finally cried enough.
Starts to breathe a bit. Did some ringlands, didn't it, or something?
The rings all broke up.
Yeah.
And at the same time, actually, I had some transmission problems, so basically the whole car imploded itself.
Oh no, it all called.
I was going quite well at the time as well. And then the vibration started.
Oh
and
no.
then I started smelling stuff.
Oh
and
no.
And then I thought,
I better slow down. So tell me, this is an iron block engine, isn't it?
It is.
Is it based on the O series, the old Marina engine or something?
I think the history goes back to the O's, yeah.
Good, you can't beat it.
It went O, then it went to there might be something in the middle, then there was an M series.
Right.
And then that was the twin cam one, and then it went to T.
What's this one called? A T? T for turbo?
T16.
Mate, they used to have these in the 820 Rover police cars, and they were fast. But yeah, That's a cracking lump, that, mate. I drove it, the other one, and I was really impressed with the torque it had. And I do think that, you know, iron blocks have a place, and when something's turbocharged and there's a load of torque going through it, I just think they're just better, even though they weigh more. Anyway, there you go. It looks lovely.
Pluses and minuses.
Yeah,
They're a good,
absolutely.
solid engine, but the weight bit makes them a bit harder to get the front end turning.
You've got to stop it and turn it.
You've got this front wheel drive with a very heavy block.
Yeah. Well, I hope you have a successful afternoon, and I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with my Ullman now. I was revving it to 9 deliberately, which is not like me. I normally change at 8.5, but I thought if it's going to snap, I want it to snap on me rather than the customer. So I think I've got quite a bit of confidence now in moving these crankshafts on to customers. You let me know if you fancy one. We'll put one in your engine. We'll make it 1120 inside a standard height block. You fancy that?
I have to. Well, yeah, I do. But your car sounded great. We've got some.
Oh, have you got some out? Send
action.
it me.
Yeah. To
Brilliant.
add to the.
Well, thanks for being on Shrigleytube, Stu, and I look forward to seeing you Sunday at 7.
Yeah. Cheers.
See you, pal.
Congratulations, YouTubers. You've made it to the end of Shrigleytube TV. Now, for the keen ones amongst you who aren't half asleep or nodding off, I've got a little bit of an extra part to tonight's video. This is all about the rod angle and the reason why I think it's a cry for help, really. Can anyone help me to understand, to fast track? Because this will have been understood many times before by many clever people. So if you've got an idea as to why my engine behaves the way it does, I'd be really appreciative if you could forward it to me, the information that is. Brilliant. Right, hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. I'll see you next Sunday at 7.
Okay, YouTubers, we've been doing some drawing. How exciting, to try and explain what I'll say to you. Really in a question to some of you guys, because I know there's a lot of clever people out there, educated people in this specialist subject. Mr. Green, so if you're watching and you want to throw your 2 pennyworth in, please help me, or try and help me to understand what's going on. So this is a conventional Hillman imp engine where the crankshaft is in line with the liners, and that's at top dead centre. You can see the connecting rod, although it's very poorly drawn, is in line. So what I did basically was I took the standard engine block and I machined the top at an angle, and I also came down at an angle with the liner. I did it this way. I could have just shifted the liner over to this side, to put the crank, because there's enough material to move it over, but it would have put the spark plug right on the edge of the cylinder. I didn't want that, so I thought, I know a way around this. If I go in on the smash, what it'll do is it'll bring the plug closer to the centre so we get better burn, which it did really well, because the liner is closer to the outside edge of the block, and obviously the head casting bolts to the top of here. And then we'll put it at an angle, and to try and help you understand what I've done, if I look at this image here, if you straighten the image out, so that's the block sat straight on the floor with the head at an angle. If you straighten it out so the bottom's now on the angle, you'll see all I effectively did was to move the crankshaft to the left hand side about 20 millimeters. And what that did was it meant that at top dead center, the crank pin was already past TDC, what would have been TDC in the direct, in degrees from 12 o'clock. So it was already past, which meant that when we got to this stage, which was 15 degrees past, which is when we talk about race engines and maximum power, we talk about peak expansion of the gases and the best push. So they reckon the gases are you're always aiming, you start the burn early at like 30 degrees before, because burn speed takes time, and this is all happening very, very fast when we're doing 8,000 RPM. So we start the burn early in the hope that the full push from the gas is expanding at 15 degrees. I reckon that's your maximum push. Now, if you've had a push bike, you'll know that when you got to like 90 degrees and you put your full weight of your leg on it, that felt like you had the best crank angle. But this is just how it works in a car, because it's going a lot faster, so it's a bit different. But so my rod angle at 15 degrees is absolutely fantastic. It's like straight. And the reason I really like that is one of the trade-offs I noticed on the dyno was the piston ring seal was superb. It had no blow-by whatsoever, and I believe a lot of that is because the rod was so straight, because
if you look at this image here, you'll see we've got an angle. So when you've got the piston being pushed down, it's trying to spin the rod that way, and that's why we get what we call the thrust side of the piston, which is where we always aim the oil squirter at, because it's this side of the piston that's going to be trying to get pushed that way from the mechanical pushing of the angle of the rod pushing that way, you see. So it's like an equal opposite thing. You get a force pushing that way, you get one pushing that way. But on my new engine, peak pressure 15 degrees after, the rod is dead straight. So it does do half right power. It just wasn't the revolutionary breakthrough that I was hoping for, which is why I'm asking for your help. So at 90 degrees past, that's like we've got an angle on the rod again now, but you know, it's still a good angle. And you know, I often wonder why diesel engines are just so good at producing so much torque. And I think one of the reasons is when they have these like 7-stage injectors, they carry on injecting after top dead. You know, we've got the fuel and air and we've squashed it and it's gone bang. We set it off at 30 degrees, say, before top dead. So we just got to live with it expanding and pushing the thing down. But with a diesel engine, they can do controlled burn after top dead center. So they get this great push at 90 degrees, you know, like we just said on the push bike, where you had your pedals there and you could push down and you got a right good push of it. Anyway, we'll move on to these pictures here. So this is obviously the conventional imp engine where the line is in line with the crank, and you can see the sort of angle on the rod that we would have had if we'd left it straight, but obviously we've got ours offset, haven't we? So anyway, I can see myself getting tied in knots already. So my big question is maximum advance for the compression ratio and the spark plug position, combustion chamber shape. I'd have expected it to be max 25 to 28 degrees. When we went to Oulton Park, I had 50 degrees in it. I had 30 at idle, or 33 at idle. But it never kicked back when you went to start it. It never misbehaved. It didn't push any oil out. It didn't breathe. So what is the reason? It's almost like I've created a low compression engine that works. Possibly, I think that some of the answer could be to do with the fact that because the rod angle is so much better, or should I start with this picture here, at TDC, because the pin has already gone past what would have been the original TDC. If we start the burn at 30 degrees before, say that's 30 degrees, if we started the burn there with the spark plug, and it takes time for it to start going and expand, there's a good chance that because the pin was further back, if it did try and pink or detonate, because the pin was already on the push side and not on the squeeze side, the pressures weren't continuing to rise. Is that what made it? So it would take the advance, because this advance is making me lose sleep because I've just never ever come across anything about it. And I will get to the bottom of it and I will understand it eventually, but I just need a bit of help. So if any of you guys out there have got any idea, or obviously I'm pretty much full aware that this has all been done before, you know, manufacturers with educated people. I've had a big chat with Bob from, Bob the Oracle, and we both decided that, you know, it will have been done before for sure. Manufacturers will have looked into this and worked out, you know, the pros, the cons. You know, it's the most developed thing in the world, the 4-cycle engine. So someone will have been there before and had to learn. I just wondered if they could fast track me and try and turn some of this lovely noise that this thing makes, because the induction roar from it is absolutely awesome. I just, you know, it sounds like it's going really well. It just doesn't quite do the numbers. So it's not bad, but it's just not an improvement on what we've done in the past. So back to the drawing board. One last part of tonight's video, if you're still awake, is this is some video footage that I took the week before Race Retro, when we was getting the Volkswagen LT46 ready for the journey to Race Retro. I had a couple of lads come and take the clutch out of it for me. I took the gearbox out, and the flywheel was cream crackered, but we managed to get round it by making it a solid one. So a bit of silliness in the workshop. I thought I'd add it on because it was just a bit of a laugh. Okay, see you next Sunday at 7. Bye for now.
Okay, chaps, you might remember I had the Volkswagen Crafter
that had the injector bolt that snapped, and I fell out with the job because it was like one M6 bolt held 2 injectors in. So I decided to sell the crafter, and I bought myself an old LT, you know, for moving all my stuff around when I move units. But the flywheel is hanging out of it, for want of a better word, and the 400 quid for a new one. So I said to the lads who were doing the job, let me have a quick look at the flywheel and see if I can do anything with it before we spend £400 on a new one. Now, it won't actually come apart, but I just had a look and I can feel a bit of an index there, and I suspect that that's sweated out so that it's like a collar. So I've clocked it up in the lathe. I'm going to turn it now and try and get it apart, so we can just for a learn really see how it works, and see if we can make it work again without rattling. Right, chaps, we did try and take this apart in the machine by boring what I thought was like a sweated diameter, but it does appear that these rivets go through to something and make it all hold together, because I couldn't get it apart. So what I've done is I've just drilled and tapped around the outside and Loctited 6 M6 cap heads bolts, so that the iron part of the flywheel is now attached to that part of the flywheel, and put some clearance in these so they sit over like that. So all I need now is for my mate Wilkie to say, mate, have I been a cowboy or am I being efficient?
No, that's definitely, that's needs must, mate.
Needs must. Sure, no, it was £400 for a flywheel. I need to go to Vase Retro, and I need to go to help move the unit with that old van, and then that's it. You can go to the scrapyard in the Sky. Do you think that was the right thing to do?
I get you, mate. Yeah, I do think it's the right thing to do. If only the Germans didn't think of this.
I know. Maybe I should offer it as a proper service. Everyone's saying to me that they drive absolutely awful without the dual mass flywheel on. But, you know, before 2004, nothing had a dual mass flywheel, and they all got by okay, didn't they? So it's got some springs in the middle.
Well,
of the
can't you get a plate now with the cush springs in?
It's got springs in the friction plate.
Oh, what should work then? Improvise, adapt, overcome.
What we should do, is that I like that, mate. Improvise, adapt,
overcome.
Are we allowed to interview you, Bernie?
Well, Andy, I think you should take it up as a full-time job.
What? Dual mass conversion?
Yeah, there you go.
Mate, it's
This
not...
time next year, you'll be a millionaire.
Mate, I wish I believed you. Right, thanks, boys. I'll crack up. We'll get this back on the van. We'll get the boys on it.